Well, I have a bag of mail to review with you. It's not a literal bag, it's a proverbial bag, but it's a bag nonetheless. You can email info@davidpakman.com if you would like to get a message through to us. It may be featured on an upcoming episode. It may not. I'm going to start with this has to be a presented without comment because it's so wacky. But this is the sort of thing that I get every day. And one of the things that I wonder about is what must be going on in this person's life to think to write such a message to someone they don't know. Hey, you racist, liberal, lunatics, Peter, puffer, communist, socialist, socialism, culture, F. That's the F word. I hope you boy Biden F's you life and all around you up. 'Cause if you retards, not a word I use, it's just verbatim. 'Cause if you retards believe that woman testimony in that S show here, what somebody told somebody, I overheard that, you all bunch of butt buddy do each other off air. So would you say this is truth? I would not say this is truth. I would not say that this message contains truth. The profile image has a NASCAR vehicle for this person who wrote in. All right, folks, let's continue. It's crazy out there. Dwayne wrote in and says, I can't believe you still defend the gene therapy. So, Dave, you getting the fifth or the sixth? I assume they mean vaccines. I don't know. Dwayne says, anyway, this is old news, but I wanted your opinion on a list of things Trump did. Just a few things to show he actually took them on. The elite. Obama, Hillary, Pelosi, blah, blah. The cutting taxes and regulations for small business. I couldn't tell exactly what taxes, but did he cut them? This person seems very confident in their confusion. Some people said they benefited. More money in their pockets, never mind the debt, $25 trillion to China funding the war in Afghan and Iraq. Okay, never mind that. Did you get more money? Did he lower taxes? My grammar is not the best. I have common sense over you high intellects with degrees. You can't get that from college. And I use short form like you and couldn't, okay? I'm not putting quotation marks like you freaks. I once met someone who used quotation marks. They were a freak. That's true. SEC cut funding from WHO, not on the agenda. If people think he's with them, a globalist, whatever. Globalists don't agree with some of things he did. So first is cut taxes. Second is cut money from WHO. Third, cut funding from NATO, not on the agenda. US was paying the most, not part of EU, not on the AG. So that's 4. So now 5 NAFTA. Scrapped it. Yes, he agreed to another crappy deal, but not on the AG 6. Obamacare, which is scam. But I had a better one. So we'll say 5 for now. EU cut funding. Can't remember details, but was getting out if had one again. That's 6. There was one more. Can't remember. Can you comment on those 6? I can destroy the SE failed vaccine and the fake pandemic. COVID is real. The word pandemic is fake. That's another topic. Don't comment on my grammar. Instead of a comma, I can double tap the space bar and it's a period. I'm on my phone. Wow, folks, I can't do it. I think I might have to quit. These emails are driving me into retirement. All right, now for some more substantive things. Santa wrote in, hey, David, assuming Democrats don't find a way to codify Roe v. Wade into law anytime in the near future, do you think states where abortion is legal will have an entire industry of abortion clinics start to develop along their borders with states where it's illegal? If so, what other things do you foresee happening? Yeah, this is interesting because it reminds me when I grew up in Massachusetts, it was known fireworks were illegal. I don't know if they're still illegal in Massachusetts. Fireworks were illegal in Massachusetts, but legal in New Hampshire. So there would be fireworks stores right on the border of New Hampshire and Massachusetts, and people would drive there. It almost seems certain that we will see something similar with abortion. How would we not? How would we not? And the question that remains is whether states that ban abortion will try to prosecute those who leave the state and legally get an abortion elsewhere. I don't think there's really a legal basis for that. I've spoken to lawyers and they've not articulated to me how would you do that? If you go to a state where an abortion is legal, it's sort of like if you go to, I don't know, if you go to Amsterdam and consume cannabis where it's legal and then come back to the U.S. to a state where it's illegal, could the state prosecute you for what you did in Amsterdam? Doesn't seem like it. So that's a question, but I think you will indeed see such an industry develop, and it's a horrible thing to think about. Mark wrote in about hearsay and asked, "Hi, David, is Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony hearsay? Please share your thoughts if you have a minute. It seems part of it could be and part of it not. Thanks for all you do and congratulations on your baby." So there's two answers to this question. Hearsay is a legal term relevant in courts of law. So the first question is, why are we even talking about hearsay in a congressional hearing? Hearsay is allowed in congressional hearings. So that's not an issue. Second part, there are people who, when they say, is it hearsay, you can tell, believe that if it's hearsay, it can't be believed. Sometimes hearsay is true. And so whether or not it's hearsay is a different question from whether or not Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony was accurate. And then third, even in courts of law, there are dozens of hearsay exemptions or exceptions wherein hearsay is allowed. So yes, some of Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony, if presented in a court of law, would be hearsay. That has no bearing on its truth, and it has no bearing on whether it is acceptable in a congressional hearing. Matt wrote in a comment on Tucker's June 28 show. "Hi, sir. Heard your show on John Eastman on Tucker's show. Tucker said they're treating Eastman like a drug kingpin or a rapist. Shouldn't he have said a drug kingpin or a woman who just had an illegal abortion? I believe the punishment is far worse than the actual rapist." Just a thought. Yeah. I think the point being made here by Matt is there are many who want to criminalize abortion. Usually they stop short of saying criminalize the woman's action. They will often say criminalize the doctor, etc. But point well taken. They are sort of relegating women seeking medical services to criminals. And that's crazy. A few other aggressive ones. "Whose payroll are you on, a-hole? No matter what they're paying you, you're going against your country, you piece of S, F you." I'm not on anyone's payroll other than yours. It's the people in the audience who support the work that we do. So I guess I'm on my own payroll in that I own my own business, and I'm on the payroll of the audience because the audience funds the show. Beyond that, whenever people talk about Soros or whoever else is paying me, prove it. Prove someone other than the audience and our few advertisers are paying me. Please. Do you guys get triggered much? Because it seems like you do. Do you care on all the riots the Democrats did for the last 6 years? I'll wait for your response. Well, I have unequivocally denounced violence, and it has been something I've said regardless of who's doing it or the political orientation of those doing it. We know that in the United States, the overwhelming majority of politically motivated violence is perpetrated by the right, not by the left. Democrats did riots for 6 years. You're going to have to remind me about that. When there has been violence or criminality at whatever protest, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, anything, I say I'm against that. And if crimes have been committed, then people should be dealt with in the criminal justice system. And we saw nothing from them like what we saw on January 6th. So I hope that you weren't waiting too long, and I hope that I answered your question. Last one. You have a chance to see 2,000 Mules, but I think you're, Y-O-U-R, afraid to watch. And read The Laptop from Hell, your president and his nasty son all over it. I have now talked about 2,000 mules 3 times. I think that is more than sufficient for how rigorous it is. 3 times I've spoken about 2,000 mules. I have spoken about the Hunter Biden laptop now probably closer to 6 or 7 times. I've basically said everything I think should be said about it based on what we know so far. If you think there's something specific that should be said that I haven't said, let me know. Maybe even call into the show. We have a fantastic bonus show for you today. Sign up at joinpakman.com. That's PAKMAN.com to get instant access to the bonus show. You also get the daily podcast in either audio or video form, whichever form you prefer. When you're a member, that podcast full show is made available to you 5 or 6 hours earlier than we publish it to everybody else. And when we do our town hall events, you get priority access when you are a member. JoinPakman.com, coupon code BIGVOTING22. We will see you on the bonus show, and then we will see you next week.